and welcome to episode 143.5 of BigRedBarel Geek Speak, a place for all your nerdy needs on BigRedBarel.com. My name is Alex. I'm sort of a host for this episode. Now, if you've been listening to Geek Speak for a while, you know that when we have a 0.5, it's one special episode. If you're new, then first of all, welcome. Hope you enjoy it. Come back. But 0.5 episodes for us are little interviews or little special segments where we get into details of nerdy things or invite some unbelievably geeky, marvelous people to chat with. So, in the case of this episode, we have our own BRB's on, Richard Kirke, sitting us with guys from the comedy group Justice League to talk about their show, to talk about a lot of comic stuff, to talk about Marvel, because they're all Marvel geeks, and also to promote their show that's going to happen at Edinburgh Fringe, and you should also absolutely come. Okay, so without further ado, this is interview with Justice League, and I'll let Richard take it away.
Hello, I'm the resolutely radiant Richard, and I have with me the Just Us League, who are made up of the greatly gregarious Gary. Say hi, Gary.
Hello. Hello.
And the justifiably jazzy Javier.
Hello.
Almost certainly in the background, we will have the cutely crying Clara, whose name I just written down as cutely crying cute.
Yes, she is the unofficial third member of the Justice League, who we are looking after for the day.
Yes.
It's Javier's daughter, I should point that out as well. We're not just looking after a baby.
Officially sanctioned.
We found one.
Okay.
Yeah, we found a baby.
It's great. Yeah.
Sent to Earth from a dying planet.
That's right. Tiny little intergalactic crib.
Okay. Right, so you guys are the Just Us League, but you are independent people as well. So who are you and how might we have heard of you separately?
We are stand-up comedians in our own right, as well as being comedic life partners. We're also, independently stand-up comedians. I mean, you might not have heard of us. We're not hugely successful in our own right, which I think is fair to say. But yeah, so we both are stand-up comedians. We both go around the UK, playing comedy clubs, doing jokes.
Doing our thing. That's right. Yep. Yeah, you might have heard of us. Go to the comedy clubs, see that guy and go, oh, I liked his joke, and then I'll forget him forever.
Yeah.
That's us.
That'd be us.
But singularly, yeah.
But then we got together assuming that the sum of our hilarity would be greater than the parts of our hilarity. And I think it's proving right.
Absolutely.
We're funnier together than we are not together, right?
Oh, well, you know.
One of us is.
You know, there's these Transformers that form giant robots.
Yeah.
They're pretty good on their own.
Yeah, the Justice League is the Megazord.
Megazord, yeah. There's always one central kind of... The one who makes the body and the head, I think, would be the kind of, like,
I always felt one
one.
for the one that was like the foot.
One supporting the other.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but one's
providing
providing
the
the
foot
meat and
Zoid. That was always like the blue one, the geeky science kid.
Yeah, so to answer your question, one of us is the Mastodon and one of us is the Pterodactyl.
Yeah.
To form Megazord.
That doesn't feel like it answers my question at all. If it was, I have no idea what the question was, but that's okay.
We are comedians, I guess is the answer.
Yeah, and Clara's a comedian too.
And Clara is amazingly funny.
Developing her own comic timing.
Yes, yeah.
Fantastic.
She will poo herself in the most humorous of ways.
Won't you, baby girl? Yes, you will.
Well, that is material that will only last for a while. Eventually, that's just unacceptable.
Yeah. She does it. It's hilarious. We do it.
No.
Not so good. Awesome. And Javier, you also have a skill that you've been using.
Oh, yes. I've been doing a show called Card Ninja for a number of years. I throw
You
playing
what?
cards. Yeah, on the side. Don't tell Gary. I didn't want to tell you this way, Gary, but I've got a show on the side called Card Ninja.
How successful is it?
Well, you know, it's not as... it's all right.
Half the money you've made from that is mine. How long have you been doing it?
Too long. If anything, too long.
Old Man Card Ninja.
Hey, you still doing Card Ninja? Yep, still doing Card Ninja.
Card Ninja, there's a name I haven't heard for a long time.
And for people who might rightly assume that Card Ninja is you throwing around cards like ninja stars, that's absolutely true, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it does what it says on the tin.
Yeah, I have to say, I saw that in Edinburgh a few years ago, and I didn't really believe a playing card could pierce a melon. That was very impressive.
A lot of the time, I don't believe it will either. It's one of those ones I just keep going till I get it.
Awesome.
I mean, statistically, it's going to anything could pierce a melon if you throw enough of them at it.
Oh, yeah.
Statistically.
Yeah. Cards, knives, babies. They all go through
melons.
Yeah, melon through melon.
Throwing a melon at a melon.
Yeah.
Melon Ninja. That's my show, by the way.
Right.
Melon
Ninja. Okay.
I just throw melons at playing cards.
Amazing. Okay, and you are together, you form the Voltron of the Just Us League. what is the Just Us League?
Great question. The Justice League started out as an improv troupe in 2015.
Yeah, I think it was.
Ages ago, wasn't it?
I think we just did it as a little hobby to start with.
Yeah.
We thought, oh God, we're going to need a name. And then...
You came up with Justice League, and I remember being very impressed.
Well, you should be.
And we did our first gig, and it went surprisingly well. We did it at a place called The Miller in London.
Yeah.
That was our first gig, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was really fun, that one.
That was so good.
It was really good.
We did that scene about Goofy and Mickey Mouse going back to Disneyland, but they're now jaded.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember that? And Mickey was jaded because Minnie had died.
We were dark. It was dark.
It was dark.
Improv set.
It was really funny.
Dark.
Yeah. It started so well.
And we did a zombie scene where we forgot to bring guns, but we brought sandwiches.
Man,
we
proper improv
peaked
scenes
really early with improv.
Oh, it's all downhill from there.
It all went downhill from there.
Oh yeah,
and we haven't improved in ages.
Yeah, we've been too busy with other things.
Yeah, with the shows and the written work. But yeah, it started like that, and then we had the idea for Marvellous in 2016, and wrote it for 2017, and took Marvellous, all the Marvel movies, up to Edinburgh last year.
All right, and how did that go?
It was really good. Like we didn't know how it was going to go. We just had this idea for this quirky little Marvel show, and we thought it's going to be really nerdy. It's kind of what we love, the Marvel films, and we thought there's got to be other fans, right?
Yeah.
There've got to be other fans, and we thought, sure, this sounds like a show people might want to come to, and we put it on. We really didn't know how it was going to go, and we pretty much packed out most days.
Yeah.
Turns
it went
out,
really well.
a lot of nerds out there.
A lot of, by the end of the show, sweaty nerds. That was a hot venue.
Yeah.
It was a hobby. Yeah, try doing it in a onesie as well.
Because when did you come? Was it near the beginning or near the end?
It was near the beginning. We, my parents usually take us up to the first week, second half of the first week.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It became. I mean, we've done it a bunch since then. I think it'd be. I think the final version of that show would have been quite different to what you saw, actually.
Yes.
Because we then toured it around Australia at the beginning of this year, and a little bit in New Zealand, and it ended up being a much different beast than when we started it in Edinburgh. Just through a very organic. You keep dropping the bottom 10%. Yeah, that's right. Bottom 10% of what's not working.
Mm-hmm.
And so actually, by the end it was we were really...
The original conceit of the show, we were going to just perform all the Marvel movies. And yes, that's the microphone, baby girl. The original concept of the show, we just thought, we're just going to recreate all the Marvel films. And we did that in some of our previews. And it was just so boring.
It was so boring.
Because people, even the big fans, were like, yep, that's accurate, but it's not funny.
Yeah, they were like, yeah, that's the film that we know.
Or also, by this point, the films are almost 10 years old anyway, and people were just like, well, we don't remember. We got reviewed.
You got a bit grumpy about that. I've got really grumpy that this Scotsman who had never interviewed us independently, he'd come. But do you know what a big thing? I think a big part of that is because we put ourselves in the theatre section of the programme rather than the comedy section.
We were doing anything to try and distinguish ourselves.
Yeah.
So we had the comedy, the theatre reviewer from the Scotsman come and review us.
Yeah.
And you could tell he was like, well, if you don't know about the Marvel films...
if you don't know about the Marvel films, don't come and review the show, you idiot.
Well, that does seem... I remember you opened the show when I saw it by asking if there was anyone who hadn't seen any of the Marvel shows. And that guy had a pretty confusing time.
Yeah. Which is like, we totally accept that people are going to come who don't know the Marvel films.
I feel there's nothing more we can do to make it clearer what the show is.
Yeah.
It's not like a show called, Clandestine Liaison. It's all the Marvel films.
It's all of the Marvel movies. You made that pretty clear. I have to say, I saw the one-man Lord of the Rings trilogy in an hour, and he also did the Star Wars trilogy in an hour, and that guy continually presented with people who hadn't seen either of those trilogies.
Who are these people going into this? Who are these people?
He didn't do a sketch show. It was mime taken to a whole, just an extraordinary level. He mimed and acted out the whole trilogy, reduced to an hour, full of moments that, if you knew the films well, you recognised every second of it. A few jokes, but it wasn't a comedy show.
Yeah, I saw the Star Wars one of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's working up there. I feel it.
Yes.
And I also feel his frustration, if people turn up and they're like, it's called One Man Star Wars, and if people are turning up going, what's this then? Why is he doing Star Wars?
Yeah.
I would love to know what show they were expecting. Yeah. What were you expecting with a title like that?
One of my questions that I have down here is, do you have to have seen all the Marvel movies to enjoy the show?
It certainly helps.
You don't have to have seen them all. But having a base knowledge of the Marvel Cinematic Universe certainly helps.
Yeah.
Let's say you have to have seen 50% of them. Let's just put a figure on it.
I think there's a level of enjoyment. Like if you, I think at the very least, you've got to know who are the major players in the MCU. You've got to know that Iron Man is Tony Stark, Captain America, Thor. Yeah. You've got to know those people. If you're kind of going, oh, who's Thor? This is going to be a long show for you, right? Don't bother going
unless you're bringing people.
Yeah,
unless you're buying lots of tickets.
That seems to be the big thing. Like sometimes we get nerds, which is great. They're our demographic. We
love the nerds,
and sometimes nerds need an escort. They need someone to take them out of their darkened bedrooms and bring them along to socialize. And that person sometimes hasn't seen Marvel films, and God bless that person because they are intervening and going, "Look, I need to get you out of here. I will go sit through a show that I know nothing about."
Yeah,
they're the real heroes.
Do you know what, that's something that makes the show really hard to preview. So previewing is the process of doing the show, but working on it, a work in progress, in front of a live audience, blah, blah, blah. But it becomes really hard to preview because whilst with a stand-up comedy show, you can just go to a comedy club or a generic comedy night and do it. With our show, it's hard to get a read for it unless you've got the correct demographic. So we seem to have to curate our own previews. To get nerds along, because we've done it a few times. We did one recently, didn't we?
Yeah.
And we were like, okay, who here has seen the Marvel movie? And everyone's like, no one here has seen any of them. And then you just end up doing this very apologetic hour of comedy.
With an audience just going, what?
Is that a thing?
I guess if I knew anything about this, it might be funny.
And they're right, it would be.
You see, this is where I realise how deep into nerddom I am, because I've seen every single one of them and all of the Netflix shows, except Luke Cage Season 2, which I have yet to see, but it's in the queue. So the idea that anyone might not know who Tony Stark is just seems
bizarre,
totally alien, but, there it is.
I agree. But there's enough of a demographic out there for us to put on good show after good show.
Yeah, well, the MCU being around for 10 years and like all the marketing and promotion, I find it amazing how I think I'd be more amazed if someone didn't know anything about the MCU. If someone was just totally oblivious.
Yeah, there's like young adults now who grew up with these films. Like we didn't grow up to them. We came into it in our mid-20s.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's really awesome that there's people now, and this is just a part. I don't know. This to them is like what would be the equivalent for us.
I don't know. Like imagine if Star Wars had just kept going and they made very staggered, didn't it?
Yeah.
If they'd made 18 films in 10 years of Star Wars.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it would have been the same as that.
Okay, so how much has the show changed since last year? Because I had a quick Google, and since you performed the show last year, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, Spider-Man Homecoming, Thor Ragnarok, Black Panther, and Infinity War have all happened.
Yeah. By the time Edinburgh's out there'll be Ant-Man and the Wasp as well.
Of course, yes.
Yeah, so we're kind of... the show would have changed a lot because the...
Do you mean the original show? The show we performed last year?
Yeah.
Yeah, that changed quite a lot over the course of
that changed anyway. And this one to last year, we wanted to change as well because we didn't just want to bring the same show up with a few extra sketches.
Yeah, we need to push ourselves. We want to do something fresher, and we want people to come back and see us and see something new. So we're actually taking a brand new show up to Edinburgh. Yeah.
If you do come to Edinburgh and see the same show as last year with a few extra sketches, it's because the new show that we made sucks, and we're just reverting.
Yeah, that's been our backup plan.
I, for one, had a pretty good time seeing the last show, and it sounds like it changed a lot since I saw it. So
yes,
either way, I'm going to see a fresh show.
The big thing that I guess this show is going to be is going to be a bit more, a lot more kind of focus on the newer movies because they're the ones that are fresher in everyone's mind. And like I say, no one really remembers the Phase 1 movies. Like you remember big broad strokes, but no one really remembers. Oh, there's that scene where Captain America's choosing shields, and there was that shield that Howard Stark made that was on the shelf down there. Like no one remembers that, but real nerds.
We were talking about earlier, and we were talking about as much as people don't remember Phase 1 very well, so the first bank, they certainly don't remember Phase 2 because Phase 2 was filler.
Yeah, a lot of padding before we got to the next Avengers. Yeah,
exactly that. Yeah. Exactly, that's what we were talking about. So we were like, there's certain things where we want to include them. We're certainly going to include them, but it's more of a suggestion of them or breezing over them until we get to the stuff that people are excited about now. So the Ragnaroks, the Black Panthers, the Spider-Man, exactly that, the Infinity War. So once again, we will be including everything, quote unquote everything, but some of it will just be a bit more of a suggestion rather than.
There's not going to be an equal distribution of focus on all the films.
Yeah, we're not giving Iron Man 2 the same amount of credit as we are Infinity.
That's probably wise.
Yes. Yeah.
People seem to rag Iron Man 2. I really enjoyed Iron Man 2.
Yeah, it's awful, mate. You're
No,
wrong.
it's really good.
It's really bad.
It's
not.
really
Iron Man
good.
2 is fine, but then again, I'll defend Thor: The Dark World as well as fine.
We're
so,
done. We're done.
Yeah, we're done.
Okay.
Sorry,
pause
guys.
the interview. Clara, have the mic.
I'm interested. Thor 2. What did you like about Thor 2?
Thor 2 was a fun adventure film. We saw. I feel like I'm defending it now without any warning.
Well, you are.
Yeah.
No, you're making me, and I'm not sure why. Because it's fine. It's a fun adventure movie. The dynamic between Thor and Loki remains fun. The villain is ultimately a little bit forgettable, I will concede, but there's, fate of the universe, aligning of planets, bonkers cosmic stuff going on.
Feels like they've just ticked some boxes.
Yeah.
Like, I do agree with you. The Loki-Thor relationship is good and probably the best thing in it. Yeah, for me. I'll tell you which movie that we liked that everyone seems to rag on.
We'll talk about this earlier.
The Incredible Hulk.
So good.
The second MCU
No,
film.
you see, that was just nonsense for
What? I
however long.
thought that was brilliant.
No, I have watched it and it was no good.
No, it was good.
It was very good.
It was very good.
It's in my top 10.
They breezed
Okay,
over
it's your
the
turn
origin
now.
story.
What was good about the Hulk?
They breeze over the origin story, that it's not laboured.
Yeah.
Edward Norton is a great Bruce Banner.
Really good.
The tension with Liv Tyler as Betty is great.
The action between Hulk and Abomination was wonderful.
Mm-hmm. Tim Roth is a great villain.
Tim Roth. It's the most powerful thing I've ever seen in my life. Brilliant.
Yeah, Tim Roth.
Tim Roth.
Tim
No,
Roth
it's just
after
two
Hulk.
CGI Hulks hitting each other.
Gloriously.
Yeah. So wow. Even the bit where Hulk punched into cars so that he had cars on his fists like boxing gloves.
And he kills Abomination. Well, he doesn't kill him, but he defeats it by ripping out one of his bones.
Yeah,
and
stabbing him
with it. That's a badass move.
Isn't that how Superman defeated Doomsday in The Death of Superman?
I don't know.
Abomination was very Doomsday, now that I think about it,
Abomination was very Doomsday.
in appearance.
Mm-hmm.
But it was good.
Yeah.
It was a good film. Good action.
You see, it was part of a long run of Marvel movies where the good guy had a bad guy who was basically the evil version of the good
That's
guy.
phase one.
Oh, that's phase one.
That's phase one all the way
through.
Yeah.
What was
Yeah.
describe the villain from Captain America?
Captain America, he was a megalomaniac villain who had a plan to destroy the whole world.
So, but he was a super soldier, right? The villain was a super soldier who was fighting for his country.
Oh, no, he wasn't. He was fighting for himself.
Well, the same could be said about Steve.
Mm.
Well, I think the beauty... I mean, Captain America, the First Avenger, is one of my favourite of the Marvel movies because everybody is so perfectly cast. You want somebody gruff, you cast Tommy Lee Jones. You want somebody snivelling, you have the actor whose name I can't remember who played the
Toby
snivelling
Jones.
guy. That's it, Toby Jones.
Yeah.
One of the top 10 snivellers of all time.
Yeah, really good. Along with Tom Hiddleston.
Yes, just so... everything was perfect, and the line... the sanity of the plan is of no consequence. He can do it. The bombs started to fly over. No, Captain America, the First Avenger, is almost perfect for me.
I wish they'd done something a little bit more creative with it. I've always said this. I wish they'd done it as like a black and white 1940s movie.
I think they started with it could have very much had that flavour.
America.
It had that flavour. What I didn't like was suddenly laser weapons.
Yeah, laser weapons. It looked a bit Batman and Robin. Joel.
A little bit.
Yeah. Like
Oh no,
Mr.
that is a
Freeze.
terrible thing to say. No, it had magic-powered lasers. What? I mean, magic-powered submarines, magic-powered lasers, magic-powered everything. It was
it felt a
great.
bit jarring. Felt a bit jarring.
I think they had a great opportunity to just set a superhero film in World War II.
Yeah.
And suddenly we had laser cannons.
It's sort of like the ending of Wonder Woman, spoiler alert. That felt very jarring.
Mm.
You've seen Wonder Woman, right?
I have, yeah, and that was the bit where it stopped
third
being
act.
Wonder Woman and started to be something else. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's how I sort of felt about the laser weapons in Captain America.
Mm.
And it suddenly, I don't know, it's weird, isn't it, what you can suspend belief in and what you won't. Like, I'll believe that he got injected with super soldier serum, became a super beefcake, blah, 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 blah. But laser weapons, no.
But the point we were trying to make is, there's a lot of Marvel films, they fight each other. They fight themselves.
Yeah.
Captain America fights a super soldier, super serum. Iron Man 1 fights Ironmonger, super-powered suit, super-powered. Bad guy, Ant-Man, guy that can shrink, fights the Yellow Jacket, who's a guy that can shrink. Hulk fights Abomination, two guys fueled by rage.
So you done Thor?
Thor.
Fights an Asgardian god.
Asgard God fights Asgard God. Black Panther fights a guy literally called Black Panther.
Yeah, that's the worst one.
You got two Black Panthers at the end.
A lot of the trouble of that is, of course, in the original source writing, which, there's only so much you can do with Ant-Man. Yellow Jacket's his big villain. What are you going to do?
Small villain.
Small villain. Yes, I've no idea how to come back from that. At some point, there was a question at the beginning of this. So you guys, you are taking into account, you're kind of weighting towards the newer of the movies.
Absolutely.
Partly because only the really hardcore nerds remember the ones before.
And we're more excited by the new movies as well.
Yeah, like
Infinity War was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Phenomenal. What a film. What a film. It was...
I need to see it again when I haven't got a teenager chattering the whole way through.
No way.
Ruined it for me. That and my wife
to hear that, man.
Not remembering what was going on. She has seen all of the movies, but it just because it took no prisoners as far as remembering where the plot was up to.
Yeah,
she found it very difficult.
That's one of those films I remember. We saw that together, didn't we? And then we've seen every Marvel film together, haven't we? Since we met 7-8 years ago.
We didn't see Deadpool 2 together.
We didn't see Deadpool 2 together.
And Avengers, the first Avengers Assemble.
Is that what we first saw together?
No, we didn't see it together.
So what did we see together?
Oh God, I can't remember. It was a long time ago.
It was a long time. We have a point of we sort of have to see these films together for creative purposes, professional purposes. But what was my point? We went to go see it together, and we came out of Infinity War. And I remember saying to you, like, if they had said to me, Gary, we want you to write the script for Infinity War, I wouldn't know where to start. Where would you ever start with
the fact that it kind of includes everything up until then is incredible. That they do it in a cohesive and comprehensive manner is incredible, and then that it's a great movie on top of that is absolutely mind-blowing.
And the fact they've given it like perfect screen time to everyone, absolutely everyone. It's so well balanced.
I am so gutted. You know what? I think this is a really good argument that Hawkeye is the strongest Avenger. I mean, like, the one time they leave Hawkeye out, look what happens. Half the universe dead.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, I think everybody listening to this either already knows that Avengers ends with Thanos clicking his fingers and half the world disappearing, or they don't care. I think anybody in the kind of in between has seen it by now. So I think we're safe spoiling that, but presumably you're also going to have to warn people going into Marvellous this year that you will spoil some of the movies.
Look, the Infinity War would have been out for almost a year. I think that's on you now. At what point do you have to stop saying spoilers? Yeah.
Yeah, the guy doing one-man Star Wars. It's like, spoiler alert. He's Luke's dad. Yeah, so we didn't get around to it, but we did want to write a spoilerless sketch.
Yes.
But we haven't got around to that.
Haven't got around to that.
Could look at that. And just it being the worst sketch. So it's going to be chock-a-block with spoilers.
Sure.
Be warned.
Okay, so are you guys independent of your having to see the movies for professional reasons? Are you guys comic book fans? Do you read comics, or is it the MCU for you?
No, I'm a lifelong comic book fan. My dad,
me too,
collected them when he was younger, so I sort of grew up with having a lot of Silver Age, Avengers, and Iron Man, Captain America, all that stuff, like around the house, which I love. Actually, I remember when I first found them up in the attic, and Dad sort of had forgotten about them. He hadn't read them for years, and that was a real wow moment. For me. Also, my dad's really into the Legion of Superheroes, who are arguably the worst superhero team of all time.
I've never heard of these people.
You've never
heard of the Legion of Superheroes.
Oh my God, they're a DC superhero brand, and they're a superhero team from the future, and my dad loves them, and they've got about 400 members. And they've got...
So they're Avengers.
Yeah, and they've got members like Matter-Eating Lad, who can eat anything. And they were really stretching for superheroes. And
you don't say.
Yeah.
What's your power? I'm hungry.
But also, and who else there? There's a couple. They're appearing at the moment. I don't watch it, but Supergirl, the TV show.
Supergirl is great.
Well, the characters from that are from the Legion of Superheroes. So
okay.
Who's her sort of love interest at the moment? I don't watch it. My dad does though.
No, I haven't seen it, but I've heard it's very good.
And there's a guy who's like a different dimension Superman. I can't remember, Ultra Lad or something like that he's called, Ultra Kid. But yeah, so they all feature. My dad was really into those, which I never really got into, but I always loved the Marvel stuff.
I used to read a lot of X-Men.
Yes.
The Age of Apocalypse.
It's from the cartoon, right? We grew up with the 90s cartoon.
90s
the 90s
X-Men
cartoon
just got everyone
phenomenal. It was
so good.
Yeah. It's funny because reading comic books, the two biggest tropes I hated that I thought were going to make a series jump the shark were either space time travel or space journeys. And Age of Apocalypse has got both. But I still love it. I think it's an amazing spin-off story arc. These days, I'm a bit more selective, and I will probably just go with recommendations of people I trust, like Gary, or I've got a friend in New Zealand, Gareth, who is got me into really good comic books. Recommendation if you hadn't seen it or read it, Old Man Logan, incredible.
Yeah, it's good.
I know that's been out for ages, but stuff like that, I'm waiting much more for recommendations for me these days.
It's more about, because when we were growing up in the 90s, it was all about the artists, wasn't it? It was all about Jim Lee. It was all about the Kubert brothers. It was all about that. But now it's
massive chest Liefeld.
Rob Liefeld.
Massive chest Liefeld, yes.
Yeah, Rob Liefeld. But now it's very much writer-based. I feel like, at the moment, Image can do no wrong. They are releasing so much, the publisher Image, they are releasing so much awesome stuff. So I'm reading Rat Queens. I don't know if you've read that. That's amazing.
I've read the first volume.
It's amazing.
It's so good, yeah. One of my favourite artists draws I think is the second one, Stepan Chich.
Oh, I don't know. I've got all the trades. But...
Okay, yeah. I think it's volume 2 and 3 he does the art for. I love his stuff.
Okay, sweet. But, so Saga as well. I mean, everyone's going crazy over Saga.
Yes, Saga's great.
I met Brian K. Vaughan.
Did you?
At a convention. I didn't come for dinner. But,
me and Bri.
It was at a convention in Christchurch of all places, and no one was really there, and he was there, and I got to totally nerd out with him because he took over the run of Ultimate X-Men for a little bit, and I was totally like, oh my god, Brian K. Vaughan in volume 13 of Ultimate X-Men, you combined Longshot and Nightcrawler's powers. That was really awesome. Thank you for that, Mr. BKV. And he was like, okay, thanks. And there was an artist there, and who was it? Was it Jeff Johns?
Jeff Johns, yeah. He's a big 90s. He did a lot of the Justice League stuff, I think.
Yeah. He was drawing me a Cyclops, and it was just... he said, I can draw you a little something. So he started drawing that, and no one else was there, and BKV was just sitting there. And I just said, do you want to write me a little story? He didn't look very impressed.
So you don't have your own personal Cyclops story from Brian K.
One day there was a presumptuous wanker.
The end.
Yeah. That'd be $20.
You sign it? It's about me.
I met, once again, I didn't meet, I got a personal bit done by Michael Avon Oeming, who is the guy who draws Powers, which is also phenomenal.
Love Powers.
Yeah. And I thoroughly recommend that.
Yeah, I have volume 1 read, volume 2 is somewhere on my bookshelf. Yeah, but the TV show did not work.
No, it didn't, but that's okay.
I'm not sure why it didn't work, because all the bits seem to be refined, but...
I mean, the thing is, we, as comic book fans, we never really get why they don't work, because we're like, dude, you've literally got a storyboard, ready for this stuff. Why are you deviating from script? I get, sometimes it does work, though. I don't know if you've watched Runaways, the TV show Runaways.
No, not yet.
It's brilliant.
But I've read
it's
it, so...
really good.
Okay.
It's... once again, the series, especially that first series, the volume 1, was phenomenal. But they've sort of deviated a bit, and they focused a bit more on the parents, so that they're a bit more rounded characters, blah blah blah. Because it wouldn't have worked. It's a bit too. I don't want to say camp. It's a bit too. Yeah, sure. But the TV show is wonderful, and the same as Preacher. I'm really enjoying Preacher at the moment, and that's deviated obviously loads from the comic. So it can work.
I'm really petty about Preacher. I'm like, you're deviating too much from the comic for me. I just want this story I love.
Fair enough.
I'm a real diva like
purist.
That. Yeah.
I see. On the other end of the scale, I am super excited for the currently in production, maybe going to happen, Astro City TV show. I don't know if you guys have come across Astro City.
Sorry, mate. They're with a League of Superheroes for me.
I will, at almost any excuse, and so I'm going to do it now, bang on about how wonderful Astro City is. So Astro City is Kurt Busiek and Alex Ross. So they did Marvels together.
Yeah.
It's them and an artist who should get probably just as much credit, whose name I forget. They wrote it's a sort of love letter to superheroes. So it's an anthology comic following all of these overlapping stories within a city, Astro City, which is full of superheroes and full of people just trying to go to work without, enormous monsters from another dimension disrupting their commute. Awesome. And it is absolutely brilliant. And the monthly comics have just finished, and they're going over to trade only because that's where people are buying it. But if you can track down any of them, Life in the Big City is the first one, but I would strongly recommend any of them. They're all
always
fantastic.
Looking for recommendations, like I say.
Well, Astro City is a strong recommendation to anyone who will listen. I will just bore anyone to tears.
Oh, likewise, another huge recommendation I do is Sex Criminals. I don't know if you've read that.
I hear people talking about it. I haven't yet.
It's phenomenal. Phenomenal. Mm-hmm. Yeah, do check that one out as well.
It's Matt Fraction who did the Hawkeye series, My Life as a Weapon, where the first issue, the first volume was amazing.
Yeah, the first trade of that was brilliant. After that, it tapered a bit. Yeah,
but Sex Criminals, awesome.
Now, the big problem with Sex Criminals is the name, obviously. So, do you want to give us just a little bit?
Oh, no, just search for it on Google. Search for it on Google. And
just do an image search.
Yeah. I just search. I would like to find sex criminals in my area. Okay, and I'm sure it'll take you to the comic book shop. So
BigRedBarel cannot endorse that approach.
So it's about a couple who realise that when they have sex, time stops.
When they orgasm,
time stops, and they decide to start robbing banks.
I mean, like, doesn't that happen with everyone? Is it just
me?
No,
it's just them. Oh. Well, in that case, you've got plenty of time to write the show, mate. That's what happens. It's hilarious, it's funny, it's beautiful, it's sad, it's brilliant.
Okay, well, I feel like we've probably filtered out all of the non-nerds pretty comprehensively now. So anyone still listening to this interview will want to see Marvellous by the Just Us League. So you are up at the Edinburgh Fringe. For anyone who doesn't know about the Edinburgh Fringe who's listening, you must go to the Edinburgh Fringe. It's amazing. It's the largest arts festival in the world. It happens in Edinburgh, which is a beautiful city. It's just some of the most wonderful and entertaining people in the universe crammed into tiny rooms with lots and lots of sweaty punters. But it's fabulous. But the Marvellous will be there?
Yeah, absolutely. It is on every day. It's on the second.
It's going to be on from the 1st to the 27th.
Not the 14th.
We take one day off. That's right. It's going to be on at 6:45 at the Gilded Balloon.
Yeah, Caveat.
Which is one of the big venues. You won't be able to miss it.
Yeah, you can buy tickets either on the edfringe.com website, or you can go to our website, which is the Just Us League. So it's Just Us, JUSTUS.
It's really disheartening every time we say our name, and like in some places we can tell that people haven't got it, and they're like, "Why do you call yourselves the Justice League? This is a Marvel show." I'm like, no, it's a very clever pun name.
It's a very clever pun. Again, I would have thought that helps filter out the people who the show may not be right for you. You may need just to be this intelligent to enjoy the show.
It's a bar. Yeah.
It also means we can't add any more members to the Just Us League.
Why? You realise us is a plural, right?
I know, but then it's like, it implies a small number.
Okay, that's true. But yes, if you go to the Just Us League,
you can't have 30 people. You can't have like.
Well, then you'd be.
Who's coming for dinner? Oh, it's just us. That sounds like about like us. 3. No, well, no one turns up with a group of like 20 or 30 people. Like, who's there? Oh, it's just us. 20 or 30 people.
Are you okay? We won't add more members. You're not. Don't worry about it. You sound like you're panicking.
Yeah, Gary's always like, let's add more members. I'm like, I just want you.
I'd like just another 28 members. That's all we need.
Just them, huh?
Because some of these sketches do require a larger cast.
Yeah, sometimes we write sketches and we're like, we really need a third person for this.
Trying to do the Warriors 3 is always a challenge. But yes, you can go to thejustusleague.co.uk and there'll be tickets.
Or any of our social medias will have it.
Yeah, at JUL Comedy.
Mm-hmm.
You can always find it through there. Yeah, it's always a good way to get on us. So just follow us. We're hilarious.
Okay, and if people listening to this have not already booked their accommodation in Edinburgh and discover that they now, if they can't actually buy a hotel, they can't go, where else could they see Marvellous?
That's a very good question. We're actually in the process at the moment of booking an autumn tour, a national tour around this autumn. And the best way, we can't say anything yet because we're just waiting for a couple of contracts to be signed in, all that boring stuff. So if you follow us at JUL Comedy on Twitter or Instagram or on Facebook, we will be announcing live dates very soon.
Amazing. Anything else that you want to plug that you haven't yet been able to plug?
No.
Just the show, really.
Yeah, just
We're really excited about doing the show this year. Like we said, last year was just a bit of a kind of, let's see how this goes, and it got an amazing response. So we're really excited to come back and do another show because, we're massive nerds, and I think people that came to see the show that are also nerds, they can see that we really enjoy it. And that was a comment we got a lot, that after the show people would come up and go, you guys really like the movies.
Mm-hmm.
And we were like, yes, so we're really excited to do the show, the updated version.
Reviewers would often call it a labour of love. Wouldn't they? They were often like, these guys clearly love this stuff.
Yeah.
And it's true, we do. And we love performing and we love having an audience there. So, do come along. And also, if you like cosplay, come along and cosplay. We always love that.
Yeah. We love it when there's a better costume in the second row than on stage.
Yeah.
There will be no room in my suitcase, I'm afraid, for any cosplay outfit, so I'll be in civvies. But
it's a lot of female characters that don't take up a lot of suitcase space to cosplay.
I mean, because this chat is over video, you know full well that I cannot pull that off. That's not a thing I could do.
That's not in the spirit of cosplay. Just go for it.
Yeah.
Okay. Again, I don't know what to say to that. You've made me feel very uncomfortable about my body and about the fact that my wife would be sitting next to me while I did that. So I tell you what, the Kirkes will be there. Quite how many of us, I'm not sure, because I don't think my parents have seen enough of the movies, and I think they wouldn't get any of it. But I'm hoping that I will drag my wife and my brother, and we will have a good time.
Amazing. We look forward to seeing you there.
Thanks so much for your time. It's, you've given me your time. Hopefully, people will hear this, and as a result, come and see the wonderful Marvellous by the Just Us League.
Awesome.
Thanks very much.
Thanks
very much, man.
Thanks for having us.
Cheers.
Okay, so that is the end of the interview. Thank you so very much for listening. If you want to follow Just Us League on Twitter, you can do that once again at GUL Comedy. You can also follow Gary at Gary Tro Comedy and Javier at This Is Javier. And of course, you can follow our very own Richard Kirke at Richard Kirke. That's with an E, by the way, for all of you nerds out there. And as always, if you want to see more of BigRedBarel, if you want to talk to us, you can do so on BigRedBarel.com. You can do so on Facebook, facebook.com/BigRedBarel. At Twitter, use the main account at BigRedBarel. Use the hashtag Geek Speak, which helps us to find your tweets. And the rest of us, you'll just find out through there. We are a chatty bunch. And as always, there is a BigRedBarel Discord, which has been very lovely. So if you want to join and to know how to find, shout at me at Twitter or on forums, or shout at me everywhere. If you shout loud enough, I'll probably hear. Although I am a little bit deaf. And I think that is it. So until the next time, thank you very much for listening, and we bid you goodbye. Bye! Butts.
You and your ears are quite welcome for the podcasting goodness that you just heard. Why not roll on over to BigRedBarel.com for more podcasts, news, reviews, and videos from the biggest, reddest site on the internet, BigRedBarel.com.